Hello, Blue Protocol fans. I'm your host, RoboGamer1HD, formerly known as Frosty Coffee. For those of you who have already watched my previous videos from me participating in both closed beta test number 1 and closed beta test number 2 for Blue Protocol, I have recently changed my name to RoboGamer1HD. So for those of you who want to know me as Robo or RoboGamer1HD, any of those two names are fine now. That is my OG name, actually, from my previous channel. But today is all about Blue Protocol's leaked opening. Now, for those of you who do not know, I guess you could say it's either leaked or it is available. But today, I am going to be breaking down the actual opening for you guys. Now, due to copyright, I cannot show this on screen. So what I'm going to do for each and every one of you guys is I am actually going to throw up clips of the closed beta test in the background to try and simulate in a way, or even screenshots of characters that we have already seen, or new news of these characters that we have seen. And I'm going to try and throw it up here on screen for each and every one of you guys, just to try and simulate what the opening is like. Now, who knows? We may be getting the opening very soon and we'll be able to see this, but from how I feel about this, it is an absolutely amazing opening. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that personally for me, this is probably the best video game anime opening that I have ever seen in any video game anime opening ever. It is by far one of the best. Now you may compare that with games like Final Fantasy 14. I feel like that's more rendered in a different setting and it's not so anime style-esque to the art that's being displayed on screen. So I do love Final Fantasy 14 a lot, and I reference that a lot in my videos pertaining to Blue Protocol. But moving forward, without rambling too much, I'm going to break down the Blue Protocol opening, which I have actually got my hands on the footage for the Blue Protocol anime opening. And right off the bat, it starts off with a beautiful scenery showing the grass flowing up real close to the grass in a scene. And then all of a sudden you see one of the main characters called Carvain, if I pronounced his name right. For those of you who do not know, I'm going to be kind of breaking down these characters, which were recently translated from the various Twitter posts that recently came out of these characters, which are, for Carvain anyway, a warrior you meet on your journey. He is honest and has strong sense of justice and has solid abilities. He is a little careless, but that's not his fault. Anyway, he's kind of got a rugged look to him. You may even reference him. He's like the Kirito of the story. He's at least one of the big main characters of Blue Protocol, and he's kind of got almost like an eye patch or a bandana thing going on with his hair. He's got gray hair, dark look. I'll have him up on screen too, but in the very beginning of this anime opening, you see him riding one of the beginning fox mounts. And you'll see the scenery, the water and stuff like that. You'll get to see the world, very similar to when they first were announcing Blue Protocol. They did this sunny scenery thing, showing the various different locations of the closed beta test, even showing the tower and stuff like that. You'll even see a lot of the closed beta test zones in this anime opening. You'll even see the tower again, but in an anime scene with the flags and all that stuff, the main city of the Astraleads. And then it goes to what we've already seen for the Blue Protocol teaser anyway, of seeing Fest dangling her toes. And then we get to see my personal favorite, which is probably going to be my new waifu, is Charlotte. She is a character, an up-and-coming traveling diva. She's bright, she's cheerful, and she's always overflowing with self-confidence, because she is also often found to be a little reckless, though. But she's an awesome character. I think she looks really cool. She looks even hot, if you want to say. And she's got the ribbons in her hair, and she's got this very upbeat personality, that kind of thing. But you see her stretching in the beginning of this anime opening, and then kind of like a blinked eye, and then she looks out over the sunrise. Then you see Jake at some point talking to a passenger, and then you'll see two of the characters that surprised us in the closed beta test number 1, actually, with the main storyline, and that would be Einrain and Tyris. I think that's how you pronounce their names, if I'm being mistaken. But Einrain or Einrain, I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. She's like the character from 1,000 years in the future, a mysterious woman who appears in the Kamigakari no Mahasira. I butchered that, I know. So she's like from the future, basically, also known as the Divine Sacred Pillar. That's her alternate type of reference anyway. She comes from beyond the future to undertake a big mission. So their big mission, I guess, is to try and change the future. The reality is that in the closed beta test number 1, as we ended the prologue, we found out they're from 1,000 years in the future, and we get taken away from them because Voldigen, or Voldy as you want to short form his name, is trying to destroy the past and the future. He seems to have destroyed the future already, and that's why they've come to the past, both Einrain and Tyris. Tyris is Einrain's bodyguard. She now she looks like a boy a little bit, so you'll be mistaken when you first see her. She's got like dark blue hair with highlights of like a teal look. Tyris is Einrain's bodyguard. She prioritizes what to do, or in short, what must be done. So she's very fierce. She's all about going forward with plans and stuff like that. She won't stop at any cost to try and protect Einrain. She is willing to decide between the most ruthless choices, which are sometimes the hardest to be taken on. So of course, she's a very important part in all of this to protect Einrain from making sure her mission is completed, kind of thing. And you see those two over this vast valley, and you see this vast valley in CBT1 of just outside the Astrolabe's main city. And it is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous, gorgeous place. You'll see in the very beginning. And then you'll see this character, and I can't really tell who he is, but he's like at a desk, like a very a formal place in the very beginning, like with bookshelves and stuff like that in the beginning, with the sun shining behind him. Then you'll see one of these leading characters called Merlouf or something like that. I think that's his name. Merlouf. Sorry, I butchered that at the beginning. A mysterious boy who appears out of nowhere. He piercingly gazes at you, but it is impossible to figure out his true intentions. Now, he looks very similar to another character called Einrain, and those two characters have very similar color palettes anyway, with their hairstyle and their colors in general. But this boy, you see him at the end of Dragon's Claw Valley in, I think that's the second dungeon, sorry, with the boar or whatever that you have to defeat as one of the big bosses. So you see him at the end of this story dungeon in CBT1. Going forward, like, he's just staring out, smiling kind of thing. He's hovering in the air above the ground, like he's levitating. And then you actually see Einrain. And then it throws, like, you see her, and she then gazes up, and you see like her, like, it's almost like a massive telescope going through the actual church or whatever at the top of the Astrolabe's main city. So if you haven't seen that, it's a really interesting place. You even see it in the prologue, and you actually get to see her twice in CBT1 in the prologue, so that's pretty cool. And then it pans to the sky and shows the logo of Blue Protocol. Then we get back to Carvain, and he's just like ready for battle. He twirls his spear, and he is ready for battle, kind of thing. So that's his main weapon. And then you see Jake flying over. You actually see some of these scenes in the actual main prologue, in the teaser of Blue Protocol's opening. Then you see the final boss in the tower the ending of the prologue for the last dungeon that you have to fight with Voldigen, and you actually see the main boss just dying over dead. But he's in a desert scene, which is a completely different place. So I wonder if some of these bosses from CBT1 are getting completely replaced and placed in different locations now that we've seen CBT1. So that'd be interesting. So you see the twirling action of what's his name? Of what's her name? Tyris, twirling her ninja blades or whatever you want to call them, and then you see Charlotte twirling around, happy as can ever be, and then all of a sudden you see this absolute desolate place, as if skyscrapers. It's almost like an apocalyptic event, where you see. You actually see Charlotte, I think it's Charlotte anyway, and then you see like her all, like in the beginning you see her all happy, spinning around as if she's happy as can be, and then all of a sudden it pans to this desolate place of destroyed buildings and skyscrapers, with her shooting a gun at whatever it is, an enemy of some sort, and then all of a sudden it pans right back to Einrain, with her spreading open her hands. All of a sudden, it's like that scene that we see in the teaser of Blue Protocol when they first announced her of Blue Protocol, just spreading her hands out, and all of a sudden, all of these light rays or light ribbons, you want to say, just flowing out of nowhere, and her just blowing up the place. It almost looks like, with some kind of massive light, and it just shoots out of the sky, and then it pans to a scene of all of these. It's almost like governmental buildings, like this massive skyscraper city, and it looks absolutely amazing. If you could almost reference this to one of the Shadowbringers buildings in Final Fantasy XIV. In the ending, it's kind of spoilery, but it's really cool. And then all of a sudden, you see two new characters. It's almost like as if they control the main army of this new place, of this skyscraper place, and this is Dunkirk and Veronica. Dunkirk, he's probably the leader of the military. Dunkirk is the leader of the Knights of Principality of Bernard, and is also known as the strongest man, so he sounds very fierce. He has earnest the respect and admiration of the people all over the world. Veronica, on the other hand, is the vice commander for the Knights of Bernard. With her calm and composed judgment, she is also loyal aide of Dunkirk. So those two main characters, part of the military of this skyscraper place, I assume, and it looks very like they have this big leading army, which is crazy, and they're ready to go off to battle. But what's really interesting is, if you guys recall, the 20-man raid, where it has this massive monster-like enemy, and he's absolutely massive. It's almost like a dragon, but like he dashes from place to place, and it took 20 players to defeat this boss in a raid. And can you imagine 100 of those characters, 100 of those bosses flying in the sky? And then imagine Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn's opening scene for their opening A Realm Reborn cinematic, where there's a massive war, but against all of these raid bosses. Can you imagine that? Just imagine that in this opening. You will see that in this anime opening for Blue Protocol, and it's crazy. And they go up against what looks like these mechanical looking, I don't know what you want to call them, because it's very difficult to see because the video isn't very clear. They almost look like various futuristic enemies, almost going head to head. So monsters against monsters. It's not like it's a battlefield of humans or whatever going up against these enemies, because there's monsters against monsters. And what's really interesting is you almost see like a dragon, a brand new dragon of some sort that is going up against the raid boss that we saw in CBT1, and just blowing up the place with electricity. And you see all of the main characters that we've already mentioned all together jumping out of the way, because they're fighting actually this brand new enemy that we've never seen before, this new dragon of some sort. And you see Einrain and you see Carvain as well, just fighting, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, his power just unleashes, and blows up the sky and does that anime effect where like the clouds split apart and there's a massive circle through the sky, and defeating this enemy, and then Rock's just blowing up the ground as he unleashes this attack, and it just blows up a massive amount of the area that's there. So I'm going on for way too long about discussing this anime opening, and I'm sure you guys will see it very soon. But there's a lot of things going on here, like going back and forth between the future and the past, with Jake showing up. He's depressed in this what looks like a coffee house of some sort, or a lounge area, and then you see Charlotte in like this wheat field staring off at the sunset, and then she stares back at you kind of thing. And it's really interesting. Like all of the characters almost look like they're depressed, almost like there's a lot of hardships going on, and then at times you'll see them smiling back at each other, like Jake, Carvain, and Varen and Einrain and Charlotte all together. Charlotte like waving from a distance, waving that typical anime thing where she's like waving like, hey guys, kind of thing from distance, and meeting up with them, and all of them all smiling back at each other, and that typical anime scene where they're all walking side by side with each other, and it's almost like that cover for the anime opening song that they recently showcased, of them side by side talking with one another. It looks really cool. And then all of a sudden you see this think about the 20-man raid, the zone for the 20-man raid. It almost looks like that in this scene, with Voldigen and Carvain going head to head with him with his spear, and then Voldigen doesn't even have any kind of weapon with him. He's using simply the claws of his hands to fight off Carvain with his spear, and they're just going head to head. It's almost like Kirito versus the main boss in Sword Art Online, and it's almost like that scene, and they're going head to head, and then Voldigen just like stops him with his hand at one point with his spear, and then he's just staring at him menacingly, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just he claws him down low with his other hand, almost to try and reach out and try and jab at his stomach, but shoots him really far back and throws Carvain off balance. And then Voldigen's just staring menacingly down over top of Carvain before they start back up their battle again. Carvain spins his spear and then takes out a war cry and then dashes towards Carvain. But then it does a flashback to when Carvain was actually a young little boy, and he's just like reaching out towards whoever it is that I don't know who it could be, but it's almost like a dagger fell from somebody's hand, like someone important to Carvain that had died, and maybe Voldigen is responsible for that. Who knows? And maybe that's the reason why Carvain is going head to head, one-on-one against Voldigen in this opening anime scene. So it's very interesting, and you can see so many characters fighting various enemies and various locations that we've already seen from CBT1. You see Merlouf again. You see Einrain and Tyris. I keep on saying her name wrong. Tyris. I got to remember that name. Tyris and Einrain all together, and then these two characters staring back from what looks like a cliff, with a beautiful pink and purple sky in the background, them just looking behind, and then all of a sudden just going right in between these two characters of Einrain and Tyris, going in between these two characters, and then that typical flowing of flowers or whatever you want to call it, just flowing up into the beautiful sky that's there. And that's basically how the anime opening ends for Blue Protocol. Now, it was a big explanation, but I really wanted you guys to just picture that in your heads, and I'm sure you guys will see it soon. And it's very spoilery for me to even be talking about this, but I just wanted to describe it the best way I could. And it's very difficult to even describe because I cannot show this without getting a copyright strike of some way, shape, or form. And I just wanted to share that with you guys and share this anime opening to the best of my ability. And I'm sure you guys will probably geek out and whatever, just seeing this absolutely beautiful anime opening scene with this amazing soundtrack in the background for the Blue Protocol anime opening. I personally cannot wait to actually jump into this game, the JP version at least. I don't know when the actual North American global release is going to be, but I'm sure it will be somewhere in the near future. I'm sure Bandai Namco is probably steadily working to get us that, but there is no release date, of course. No one knows the release date for the global release at all. There may be subtle hints here and there, but there's very little to go on, and all I have to say is I cannot wait to do a full walkthrough on this game. And while I may not be able to translate everything word for word, I will try my best to try and give you guys the best experience and showcasing my experience with Blue Protocol when it officially releases. Guys, if you guys want to see all that content, up-to-date news on Blue Protocol, all kinds of awesome new information, as well as gameplay and a full-on walkthrough of Blue Protocol, be sure to check out my channel, RoboGamer1HD. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and of course, comment your thoughts down below. What do you think of Blue Protocol's anime opening? While I can't show it on screen, I'm sorry about that because I do not want to get a copyright strike. What do you guys think? Just trying to imagine what that's all about. What do you guys think of Blue Protocol's anime opening? Is it to your expectations from what I tried to describe? Did I describe it well enough for those of you who may have already seen it already? And let me know, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this leaked Blue Protocol anime opening from the CD, which was recently released. Tell me what you guys think. I'm super excited for Blue Protocol, as I have always been, and I cannot wait for this game to officially release. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you guys want to see more, be sure to stick around. Thanks all. See you soon.